In December, I made a video following up on a video that I did in August on GameCube prices, specifically because they were falling, and now that's not the case. Prices have gone up since January, some as much as 50%. So, will they continue to rise, or are we in another pricing bubble? Welcome to Retronomics, the series that evaluates price trends in video games, and this is my third video on GameCube prices, mainly because they don't like staying in one spot. A lot of people still comment on my older videos, and some are pretty friendly, but others are just plain ignorant of the fact that time moves forward, and what was accurate 3 months ago doesn't always stay accurate today. So if you're new here, consider subscribing because my subscribers saw that video when it was brand new and were able to take advantage of the brief drop in price. It costs you nothing and it supports the channel. In this video, I'll go through an overall price trend and take a look at a couple of high dollar games to see if GameCube prices will go up, down, or stay the same. And just to cover my butt, if you're watching this in June of 2021, I'm sorry if this information is no longer useful to you. But let me know in the comments if you want me to make another one of these videos. All of my prices are from pricecharting.com as of the end of March 2021, and they are for complete in-box games. You can save money by buying loose, but I always take the price of the version that has the most copies sold, and in this case, it's complete in-box. I also took a look at some eBay sold listings to get a better picture on whether or not these prices will go up, down, or stay the same. Let's get started, and we'll take a look at some price changes first. The last time I got a full list of prices from pricecharting.com was back in January, and since then, a lot of games have changed their prices, and on average about $5, but the more popular games changed in price anywhere from $10 all the way up to $100, which actually the game Cubivore was the game that really went haywire in recent months. It's always been one of the more expensive titles for the GameCube, being from Atlas and all, but man, this game has jumped pretty high and will probably go higher if eBay sold listings are any indicator. Two recently sold for over $500 and one at $560. So if you have this game, hold on to it because it's only going to go up as time goes on. Looking on the other end of the spectrum, Rally Championship for the GameCube has dropped almost 20% in value from January, down to $157 complete. And this game actually peaked in August at $212 and has been losing value ever since. So keep an eye on this one because it might drop lower as time goes on, and it probably won't drop lower than $130, but you never know with GameCube prices being so volatile. But this does look like a game that if you were looking to buy right now, I think you would feel pretty comfortable picking it up. Ikaruga is another game that I would recommend that you buy right now because this is the first version that made it to North America, and while it has seen some re-releases on modern platforms, if you're looking for good GameCube games, you can't go wrong with Ikaruga. It's one of the few shoot 'em ups on the platform, and since it's available elsewhere, the price tends to fluctuate a couple of dollars every now and then, but will probably hold its value for the foreseeable future. Another game that I would recommend picking up right now is Sonic Adventure 2 Battle, which dropped $4 since January and dropping from its all-time high of $40 back in August. And it's a really good game for the price, and it's almost $50 cheaper than its Dreamcast counterpart. I was going to recommend Mario Kart Double Dash, but in the 2 days between when I wrote this episode and when I'm set to publish it, the price jumped from about $70 and some change to $77. And while that doesn't seem like that big of a deal, the game was $60 in August and was trending down for the past couple of months. So this game might remain high for a while because Nintendo does have a trend of refusing to acknowledge the best Mario Kart of all time. Yeah, I said it. But the game is a lot of fun, and I think that you would get your money's worth, but this could be a game that in the next 6 months could be cheaper than it was back in August. I'll focus on games that I've been tracking since August, but first let's focus on some that people have asked me to track. Pokemon XD Gale of Darkness. Now, I'm not that big of a Pokemon fan, but man, this game has really gone bonkers since the beginning of 2021, almost doubling in price. And if you take a look at the recent sold listings on eBay, it seems to indicate that the price is starting to settle down a bit. I really think what set it off was the most recent Pokemon news. Anytime that there's big Pokemon stuff, it tends to affect the older Pokemon game prices. And since Gamecube is hot right now, it's really no surprise that this game is fetching a high dollar, and it's also one game that didn't sell very well when it first came out, as it's not really a mainline Pokemon game, but a lot of people have nostalgia for it. I'd personally wait a bit to see if it goes down any lower than what it is, but I wouldn't expect it to drop any lower than $100 for the foreseeable future. Next up, Disney Sports Basketball. Now this game is one of the rarest GameCube games, and its price has reflected that for the past 4 years. It has remained $300 since January of 2021, and it looks like it will stay roughly the same price for the foreseeable future. The last 4 sold for an average of $290, with the highest being $335 back in December, and there are a lot of buy it nows for around $500, but this is one of those grail finds that not a lot of people go after, so if you have deep pockets and fast fingers, I'd say snag one for $300. Beach Spikers. Now this is an actually inexpensive game for the GameCube. It's beach volleyball, and it keeps getting close to $20, but not quite over that hump, and it looks to be a direct competitor to Dead or Alive Beach Volleyball that came out for the Xbox, and this seems like a pretty good pickup for $15. I would pick it up now with no regrets, as the price changes aren't too drastic. Next up, Geist, a Nintendo published M-rated title, the second one actually on the GameCube, and this is when Nintendo took risks. Now I haven't played Geist, but it is a first-person shooter where you can possess enemies to complete tasks, and this is one game that will probably remain on the GameCube for the foreseeable future. Nintendo really doesn't like to resurrect well-known game titles, so I don't even expect an off-the-wall game published by a now-defunct studio to get any special treatment. If you like first-person shooters, Geist is a good deal at under $30, and it seems to be holding steady for now. Now, if you like supernatural games, Second Sight is a good one to pick up because you play as a person with psychic powers on this over-the-shoulder shooter. And honestly, I have never heard of this game until it was mentioned to me in my community post, and this game looks worth the $15 it's currently going for. It's been affected by the pandemic, but it looks like it's leveling off, and this might be one GameCube game that drops back down to pre-pandemic prices by the end of the year, or it just stays locked at $15 because I don't see it climbing higher than $20. Next up is Ultimate Muscle. Now this game, it's bound to be volatile and will probably stay on the more expensive side for time to come. This game is exclusive to the GameCube in North America, and it looks to be pretty interesting, but it didn't sell well when it came out. It's a wrestling game based on a Japanese anime and manga, and it's very unique. The gameplay style is off the wall, which will draw people in, and this game was on no one's radar when it was released in 2003, and thus a lot of people will be looking hard for this game, and the price reflects that. This game did drop briefly to $80 in December, but it's on its way back up. So if you're looking for a wrestling game and you have deep pockets, this game might be one to pick up now rather than later. Now let's talk about the 10 games that I have talked about in the past 2 videos. Paper Mario Thousand Year Door. Now this game keeps creeping back up to north of $100, and while it doesn't look to be racing up there, it was a best-selling game. Paper Mario Thousand Year Door will probably remain in the $80 to $110 range for the foreseeable future. It's a good game, it's regarded as the last real Paper Mario game, and Nintendo doesn't really feel like re-releasing it, so buy it now if you see a price that you're comfortable with. F-Zero GX keeps going up for some reason after staying around $50 for the last couple of videos that I did on GameCube prices. It's actually jumped $30 since I last made this video, so we're probably going to see a bubble on this game because it is slowing down on increasing, and I think it is because out of the previous 14 sales, 3 went for over $100, which could be an indicator that resellers now know that GameCube is a hot item and they're taking advantage of panic buyers who have more money than patience. I think this is one of the games that will come down faster than the rest of them, and I personally wouldn't spend more than $60 for this game. I mean, I really like F-Zero, but this is pretty expensive for this game. Super Mario Sunshine just keeps dropping, and it might go up just a bit after 3D Mario All-Stars is removed from the eShop and from store shelves, but with so many Switch copies available, I don't think that this game is going to skyrocket anytime soon. Eternal Darkness. Now, this game doesn't look like it has a ceiling just yet, so if you were on the fence about this game, pick it up now, because I told you in the last video to pick it up, and this game is not one to sleep on. It's a really obscure game published by Nintendo, the other M-rated game that they published, and I don't think that they have any plans of re-releasing this game anytime soon. Metal Gear Solid Twin Snakes is probably another game that's going to go up as time goes on. It's regarded by many as the definitive way to play the original Metal Gear Solid that was originally released on the PlayStation, and the way that Konami has been handling their lucrative IPs, I think you'll see this on a slot machine sooner than you will a next-gen platform. Luckily, this isn't spiking the way that Eternal Darkness and other games on this list are, so you do have a little more time to decide if you really want this game, but keep an eye on it because I don't see it coming down anytime soon. Skies of Arcadia. Now, this is another game that's just getting out of control. The price is actually higher than the last bubble, and I was looking at eBay sold listings, and it doesn't look like the drop is coming anytime soon. And I said in my previous video, don't expect it to be lower than $80, but now I can't see this game dropping below $100 anytime soon. This is one to keep an eye on though, because we might be entering another GameCube bubble for more expensive games. Super Smash Bros. Melee. Now, this is a game that's going back up in price, and it's actually the highest it's ever been since December of 2015, which is really odd because it is one of the least volatile games on this channel that I've spoke about, and I'll get into causes by the end of the video of why I think that is, but this usually is the first game that people buy when getting into GameCube collecting, so I don't think that you have to worry too much about missing the boat. Chibi Robo, and this is another game that just continues to fetch a high dollar amount, but it's not GameStop stonk levels anymore, and I personally don't think that this game is worth the high price tag, but hey, it is a quirky Nintendo game where the GameCube was the last good installment, so maybe that's why people think it's so valuable. This game will probably continue to flirt with the $200 price tag for a while, so maybe you can get a deal when it drops to $150. I mean, this is one of those games where it will either continue to be insanely expensive or eventually just bottom out and you can find it all over the place for $35. Luigis Mansion has been a safe bet for a while now, but it has seen a lot of an increase of lately, and again, I really don't feel comfortable saying that this is a game that you should buy right now, but if you see it for $50, I would suggest picking it up, but definitely not any more than $70. And the last game on our list, Twilight Princess. This game has continued to just skyrocket since November, almost doubling in price, which is pretty intense for a Zelda game, but it is the 35th anniversary of Zelda, but Twilight Princess being worth this much? I mean, the Wii U version is much more acceptable, and I think that's kind of pricey for what it's currently going for, but I guess people have Zelda fever. So with the popular games going through the roof again, you have to wonder why we're seeing a second spike. And I really think that it has more to do with the second round of stimulus checks than anything else. Mid-April of 2020, most people got a $1,200 plus an extra bump in unemployment insurance, which is right around the first time that Gamecube and other video game prices started to pop off. And that, coupled with no video game conventions, really kept prices firm. Then around November and December, they started to cool off, probably due to people wanting to spend that money on Christmas gifts. Then you had the government send $600 at the end of December, then another $1,400 this past March. And with the vaccine and most people who would buy these games not really in a position to need that extra $1,400 to pay for bills, they spent it on video games. And it really shows with the recent sold listings of these games. They're just buying up whatever they find on eBay, which drives up price charting's prices. And in the sold listings, you had people spending over $100 on Luigis Mansion, $165 on Twilight Princess, and over $200 for Robo. People are just loose with their money right now, and they have an extra $1,400 just burning a hole in their pocket, and it's affecting these video game prices. Not to mention that tax season is always coming up around here, so people are also combining that $1,400 with their tax refunds. So we're going to probably see prices stay up for the next couple of months. Then we might see prices finally start to cool down over the summer when stuff really starts to open up again and conventions start up. Midwest Gaming Classic and Too Many Games are slated for the very end of the year, but everything is really out of whack. You have people paying over $500,000 for a copy of Neon Cat, so it really is a coin toss right now to see if and when prices will go back to normal. So this video, this went pretty long, and if you made it to the end, thanks so much for keeping my watch time percentage up, and give the video a like if you haven't already, and share it with those who might find it interesting. If you're new here, consider subscribing. I'll most likely make a follow-up video in June, so you'll want to be ready for that. And you can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at snicktendo. Thanks so much for watching. I'm Super Nicktendo, and I'll see you next time.